Arteta's Arsenal problems eased into exciting present, but old issue is lurking. By most metrics, Arsenal are in a far healthier place than they were 12 months ago. A victory over Chelsea on Boxing Day 2020 was only the Gunners' fifth in 15 league games, leaving Mikel Arteta's side unsure if even a top-half finish was within their grasp, so the flirtation with the Champions League spots represents a solid improvement. More importantly, though, the club managed to terminate the contracts of 3 players who clearly had no future at the club, clearing the way for a youth-led revival which has continued long into this season. As the London side attempt to keep their momentum going into 2022, though, they have another very familiar issue looming large and threatening to derail the progress of the last 12 months. Will Arsenal finish this season in the top 4? Have your say in the comments section. Upon letting Mesut Ozil leave Arsenal in January 2021, Arteta was very clear in explaining what he wanted to do with the club. He's a great footballer and a really talented footballer, and a player who has done a lot for the football club, but at the moment I want to take the team in a different direction and he would have more options elsewhere, the manager said. Ozil eventually opted to continue his career in Turkey with Fenerbahce after nearly a full year without playing a minute of first-team football and has been doing relatively well in the Super League. This isn't about Ozil, though, and nor is it about Sokratis and Shkodran Mustafi, the other senior players offloaded at the start of 2021. It's about what that clear-out allowed Arsenal to do and whether such an approach will remain sustainable in the face of a fresh crossroads moment for the Gunners. Having been in the dugout for barely a year, it would have been easy for Arteta to feel he didn't have the license to oversee such a drastic change in Arsenal's squad makeup. Indeed, some earlier signings, most notable Cedric Soares and Willian, suggested the manager was prepared to compromise on the youth-focused approach which has since come to define his first managerial role. The Sokratis departure felt like a footballing decision above all else, with Arteta describing him as such a professional and great person to work with, but admitting there was no place for him in a busy squad. While the Greek defender continues to rebuild in his home country, the exit of Mustafi is not looking like an error whatsoever after the German's struggles with Shaki could end up being followed by a second successive relegation at Levante. After a strong finish to the 2020-21 season, a difficult start to this season prompted question about the Gunners' summer spending. However, whether or not the results were forthcoming, there was a clear guiding principle beyond flooding the squad with youth and drastically changing its makeup. The emergence of both Emile Smith-Rowe and Bukayo Saka might have been an either-or scenario were it not for the departure of Ozil and, later, Willian, while the space created by the offloading of Mustafi and Sokratis has made it easier for Gabriel and Ben White to form an impressive partnership. Considering Smith-Rowe's importance in particular, it's bizarre to think the win over Chelsea in December 2020 was his first league appearance that season and only his second Premier League start ever. Arsenal's fanbase has always been receptive to academy alumni progressing into the first team, whether they'd been with the club since childhood like Jack Wilshere or joined the set-up as teenagers like Cesc Fabregas and Hector Bellerin. There has also been plenty of support for the new younger cohort, though. And there's an argument that White, Aaron Ramsdale and Takehiro Tomiyasu, among others, have quickly earned the backing of those in the stands, not just for their performance, but also for what they represent. Arsenal boast the youngest starting XI from any Premier League game this season, with an average age of 24.0 years in their win over Newcastle United in November, helped out by a back five where White, at 24 years and 1 month, was the eldest. However, as we enter 2022, the oldest member of that starting XI could be behind an old issue resurfacing. Arteta's response to the recent issues concerning Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang suggests the Arsenal boss has learned from the past, with the lesson being don't let things drag on any longer than they need to. It was clear Ozil had no future in North London as early as summer 2020, but it was not until the next calendar year that the playmaker was finally moved off the books, while it was a similar story with Sokratis after the defender made his final first-team appearance as a substitute in the 2020 FA Cup final. Arteta has stood firm on the Aubameyang issue after stripping the striker of the captaincy, explaining the decision came because we believe he has failed to be committed as the level we all expect and agree. It is as simple as that. What I expect from any person in this football club that is representing this badge is passion and that he gives absolutely 100%, that he puts the club in front of any personal interests and is able to do anything to fulfill the badge we have on the chest, the manager explained. The difference this time is that, while Arsenal may be able to point to their ability to claim victories without Aubameyang on the pitch, he remains a player who could remain an asset if integrated back into the squad like former skipper Granit Xhaka, rather than being slung on the pile marked free to whoever wants him. After the resurgence in 2021, Arteta will be able to point to the benefit of big and bold calls when the health of the team is at stake, and the future of the former captain certainly falls into that category. If we've learned anything, though, it's that the club and the manager will be prepared to act quickly and decisively if they determine there's no coming back from the latest confrontation. And if that prompts an even younger squad carrying the Gunners forward into 2022 and beyond, that might not be such a bad thing.